to the answer to this question. It's based on Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 1. The question is, describe Solomon's role as a congregator. And we'll always look forward to your fine gems you found this week's Bible reading. Please, I encourage you to share them with us tonight. We'd love to hear those gems. They apply ourselves to field ministry. Look forward to the student parts. We know the students do an excellent job every time. They prepare well and demonstrate so well those beautiful presentations. They help us in ministry to give us more joy and be better prepared. So really look forward to looking at those beautiful demonstrations that they prepared. Then living as Christians, we look forward to the part 3 important lessons about training. We'll look through this part, we'll see that love is what really motivates us to train others. And then in the congregation Bible study, look forward to going through lesson 20 and 21 of the Learn from the Bible publication. So what a beautiful program we have installed. I'm sure we're going to enjoy it very much. So let's begin our program for tonight with Treasuring God's Word with the theme, Continue to Train the Next Generation. Let's invite Brother George Arias.
So as we start a new book in the Bible, the book of Ecclesiastes, we'll watch the introduction to this Bible book.
An introduction to the book of Ecclesiastes. King Solomon, who ruled over Israel from Jerusalem, wrote this book. Ecclesiastes was completed many years into Solomon's reign, but before his fall into idolatry. Ecclesiastes contains 12 chapters. In chapter 1, Solomon discusses the futility of human activity. In chapter 2, he looks for meaning in life by evaluating his many pursuits. Solomon writes that pursuing wealth and magnificent accomplishments is like chasing after the wind. Chapters 3 to 6 present observations by Solomon that help us cultivate godly wisdom. He shows that there is an appointed time for everything. He encourages hard work, and he extols the benefits of friendship. He refers to the enjoyment of food and the rejoicing over one's work as the gift of God. Chapters 7 to 11 provide a sobering discussion of life in this world. Solomon observes that life is short, and that man needs to use his time, energy, and resources in the best way possible. This will help him make a good name or reputation with God. Did you know? Solomon alluded to the Earth's water cycle centuries before scientists understood this process. In chapter 12, he encourages young ones to make wise choices before the challenges of old age arrive. Then he sums up all that he discussed with the words, "Fear the true God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole obligation of man." As you meditate on the book of Ecclesiastes, note which pursuits are futile and which are worthwhile. How godly wisdom helps us enjoy the gift of life, and how cultivating a relationship with God leads to a truly meaningful life under the rule of God's kingdom.
So apart tonight, we're going to consider why there's a need to continue to train the next generation. If you think about the word training, what comes to your mind, or how would you define that word? Well, the Cambridge Dictionary defines the word training as the activity of learning or teaching the skills or knowledge needed for a particular job or activity. And when we think about the jobs and the activities that take place within Jehovah's organization, there is much work needed in order to advance the good news. See, in recent days, a talk by Brother Mark Sanderson, a member of the governing body, he commenced his talk by saying the following words: "Qualified brothers and sisters are needed everywhere in Jehovah's organization today. We need them to preach the good news. We need them here in the world headquarters. We need them at branch offices all around the world. We need them on construction projects as well as in our own local congregations. And then he went on to make the statement, we all need to think personally what we can do to train others. So notice, why does it involve personally? Why do we need to think as to why this training is required? Well, friends, can we look for a moment at God's word in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, and in verse 4, there he tells us as to the events that take place as a result of living on this earth. Note what it says. It says, a generation is going and a generation is coming, but the earth remains forever. When we think about the scope of the work that needs to be done, a generation is coming and a generation is going. It means that as these generations come and go, people need to be trained in order to ensure that the good news has an advancement. For example, consider for a moment, depending on when you came into the truth, when we used to receive our magazines in 4 colours. Do you remember those colours? And then with time, what happened? Bethel introduced a printing machine that could print in multiple colours. When you think about, for example, the JW app, do you enjoy that app? When you think about the dramas that are filmed today, do you enjoy those dramas? What is required in order for those things to be maintained and for brothers and sisters to be kept up with the use of the technology that makes these things available? Well, it requires our brothers and sisters to be trained so as to help the advancement of the good news take place. But when we think about the trainer, the individual giving that training, what's 2 qualities that need to stand out in this individual? Humility and love. Why do we say humility and love? Well, the humility part comes into play when the individual needs to recognize that he does not own the assignment he receives within Jehovah's organization. See, this assignment is temporary. So what one has to think about is, how do I train the next person to actually replace me in this role? And this is where humility comes in, knowing that we need to train others so as to do the work that perhaps we enjoy ourselves doing at the moment. Now, sometimes what can happen with training is one can think it's too hard. And I know that no one can do things the way I do the things. So I rather do them myself. Well, notice what it said earlier as we read in Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 4. There's a generation that is going and there is a generation that is coming. Well, those persons who run that role one day, unfortunately, will expire. And somebody will need to continue doing that role. Notice the humility that is portrayed in the book of Psalms. And I invite you to open your Bibles, friends, in the 71st Psalm and verse 18. Psalm 71 and verse 18, it says, "Even when I am old and grey, O God, do not abandon me. Let me tell the next generation about your power and about your mightiness to all those who are to come." So what did the psalmist recognize? He recognized here that he would get old, that he would grow grey. But he also sees the importance of being able to share what he's learned with other generations. So how does he do this? By training others so as to continue this work. But if we were going to imitate a trainer, who would you imitate as the best trainer that could possibly be? Would not Jehovah come to mind? For example, when Jesus was on earth, at John chapter 5, verse 20, Jesus stated that the Father has affection for the Son and shows him all the things he himself does. This is the second quality that is required by a trainer. So we said the first one was humility. The second one is love. And we too can show affection for our brothers and sisters by training them. See, we are preparing them to gain the experience they need so as to be effective and productive within Jehovah's organization. Now, how do we feel, or how do you feel when you complete a task that you've been trained to actually do. For example, when I had to teach and train my daughters to learn how to drive, when they got their license, they were overwhelmed with joy. How much joy did I receive from knowing that the training actually worked? Do they actually drive the same way they were taught? Well, that's a different story. But the joy they received is the same joy that I would have received. And look what it tells us here at Ecclesiastes chapter 2 and verse 24. It says, "There is nothing better for a man than to eat and drink and find enjoyment," and here comes the key part, "in his hard work. This too, I have realized, is from the hand of the true God." So when we think about training other brothers and sisters, we too want to have that same experience. So now perhaps the next question we might ask ourselves, if we have a responsibility within the congregation and I have a job that I have been assigned, could I actually help my assistant better learn or better train him so as to be able to do the same role that I do? Or could I assign someone else to perhaps help him learn, or her, the skills necessary to do this role? See, when we think about Jehovah and the training he gave to Jesus, Jehovah had greater responsibilities for Jesus in the near future. So Jehovah, as the best trainer, ensured that Jesus' training would be one that he would be able to not only find joy, because notice at John chapter 5 verse 20, and it says he shows him all the things he himself does. And Jesus rejoiced with Jehovah with regards to this work. Let's look at the illustration that is in our workbook this evening. We see a young brother conducting the watchtower. And we see the elderly brother looking up at him with a wonderful smile. Why is he smiling? Well, perhaps this brother who is smiling used to be the watchtower conductor. But as a result of the training, he now is able to gain joy by seeing how this brother applies that training. Now, that brother has had a wonderful opportunity. And notice how the scriptures come into place. A generation is coming and a generation is going. And one is getting grey and one is getting old. Well, it's time to move in the younger brothers and sisters to take over the role that he's doing. So friends, from what we were able to consider today, we need to continue the next generation, not only for them to be able to find joy in the work that is done in Jehovah's organization, but to ensure that Jehovah's work has an advancement not only in this system, but also in the forthcoming. We invite the chairman back.
Thank you very much, Brother Arias, for taking us through the treasures of God's Word. Very encouraging talk. Really appreciate that. Now we come to the spiritual gems. If you're able to, volunteer to read Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 1. Who'd like to read that for us tonight? Ecclesiastes 1:1. But Eli Gallo, please. Thank you.
The words of the congregator, the son of David, the king in Jerusalem.
Thank you. So the question is, describe Solomon's role as a congregator. Brother Gary, please.
When we think of the word congregate, we think of people getting together. So Solomon was king of Israel, and he helped to unify his people. Some of them were people that probably weren't originally Israelites, they were proselyte type people, but he had everyone unified. Why? To help them go in the right direction of true worship. So by him being the congregator, he was able to set the right path for his people in worshipping Jehovah.
Very good, thank you. Want to add anything else to that? Brother Nabil Hab, please.
Well, the nation, they were dedicated to Jehovah to do his will, but they needed instructions, they needed help. And that's what King Solomon did he get them together and organized to help them at the temple, and they received the instructions. And in this way, they show that they love Jehovah and they want to do his will.
Very good. Thank you. And Brother Kadrupi, please. Just here.
Yeah, so it wasn't just congregating the people together to worship Jehovah and learn about him, but part of that was to draw them away from vain and fruitless works that could consume their life and focus them on works that really brought honour to their God Jehovah and promoted true worship. So we see it was such an important role, and that's why the nation of Israel under Solomon had 40 years of peaceful reign, because of the work done by Solomon in that respect.
Very good. Thank you. And Brother Kreider.
And the word ecclesia means congregation or assembly. So him being referred to as the congregator, taking the lead in the lead in the congregation is appropriate, and that's why this book is entitled that.
Very good. Thank you. Let's move to the next question now. What spiritual gems from this week's Bible reading would you like to share? Sister Mary's Ibanez, please.
Studies on happiness reveals that the things people work so hard for, like money, career, possessions, good grades, perfect body, or even love, doesn't give lasting happiness. But this isn't new. Thousands of years ago, King Solomon already warned us with his divine wisdom that everything is futile and chasing after the wind, as per Ecclesiastes 1 verse 14. So the message is clear. If what we strive for ignores Jehovah's will, then no matter what we achieve, all of it, it's all in vain.
Very good. Thank you. And Sister Jasmine Cox, please.
Ecclesiastes 1:15 says, what is crooked cannot be made straight, and what is lacking could not possibly be counted. In a literal sense, these examples show how pointless or even impossible it is to recorrect something that is unfixable. But Satan and his influence have made this world crooked, and true love of God is lacking amongst the majority of mankind. So we can see how futile it would be to spend our time and our energy trying to fix the problems we see around us. We are encouraged through the Bible to put faith in God's kingdom as the only real solution to mankind's problems, and we demonstrate how much our faith is in this based on how we spend our time.
Very good. Thank you. Sister Debbie Kreider, please.
Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 14. Here Solomon uses the word vanity as a parallel of striving after the wind. We know that any attempt to catch the wind is futile, and anyone trying to do so ends up grasping at nothing. Pursuing unwise goals in this dying system will prove to be just as frustrating. In contrast, if we use our life to serve Jehovah, we will receive his blessings and friendships and obtain true riches that is truly everlasting.
Very good. Thank you. And Sister Marikar, please.
2 verse 16, like no matter how smart, talented or famous someone is, eventually they are forgotten. But Jehovah never forgets his faithful ones. So it gives me comfort because even if the world does not notice or remember what I do, Jehovah sees and values it.
Very good. Thank you for sharing that. And Sister Rowena Valencio.
Chapter 2 verse 26 says that godly wisdom brings joy and gives to a man who is good before Jehovah. So this is only impossible to gain this wisdom without having a good relationship to Jehovah. So we have to strengthen our relationship so it brings us joy.
Very good. Thank you for sharing that. And Sister Valeria Bisnelli, please.
In 1 verse 11 says, no one remember people of former time, nor will anyone remember those who come later. We know that the pages of history are filled with many names, but this means little in the life of people today. Only with Jehovah rests any prospect or remembrance and restoration to life by a resurrection.
Very good, thank you. And Sister Cohen Kim, please.
Yeah, I also looked at 1:15, and there was a good illustration about we never get rid of the problem in the system because it's like to keep removing spider webs without getting rid of an actual spider. So we would love to direct people's attention to God's kingdom. So let them know that it will remove the webs, not only the webs, but also the old spider, Satan.
Thank you for sharing that. Excellent. Thank you very much for those fine gems. And thank you for sharing those with us tonight. They were really nice. So let's now continue with our next part of the program, which is a Bible reading. Let's invite now to take us through that. Let's invite now Brother Danny Furman. He's going to be reading from Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verses 1 to 18.
The words of the congregator, the son of David, the king in Jerusalem. The greatest futility, says the congregator, the greatest futility, everything is futile. What does a person gain from all his hard work at which he toils under the sun? A generation is going and a generation is coming, but the earth remains forever. The sun rises and the sun sets. Then it hurries back to the place where it rises again. The wind goes south and circles around the north. Round and round it continuously circles. The wind keeps making its rounds. All the streams flow into the sea, yet the sea is not full. To the place in which the streams flow, there they return, so as to flow again. All things are wearisome. No one can even speak of it. The eye is not satisfied at seeing, nor is the ear filled from hearing. What has been is what will be, and what has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. Is there anything of which one may say, look at this, it is new. It already existed from long ago. It already existed before our time. No one remembers people of former times, nor will anyone remember those who come later, nor will they be remembered by those who come still later. I, the congregator, have been king over Israel in Jerusalem. I set my heart to study and explore with wisdom everything that has been done under the heavens, the miserable occupation that God has given to the sons of men that keeps them occupied. I saw all the works that were done under the sun, and look, everything was futile, a chasing after the wind. What is crooked cannot be made straight, and what is lacking cannot possibly be counted. Then I said in my heart, look, I have acquired great wisdom, more than anyone who was before me in Jerusalem, and my heart gained a great deal of wisdom and knowledge. I applied my heart to knowing wisdom, and to knowing madness, and to knowing folly. And this too is a chasing after the wind. For an abundance of wisdom brings an abundance of frustration, so that whoever increases knowledge increases pain.
Thank you very much, Brother Danny, for filling in last minute. That was excellent reading. You did a very nice job of that. You had nice modulation, you looked up the audience, used gestures, It's a really fine reading, a good example for us to follow. Also like to use enthusiasm in your reading. That's something important because that gives life to a reading, makes it more appealing. It can stimulate and motivate our listeners, and that's excellent what you did tonight. So I commend you for that, and thank you for filling in once again. Now we'd like to continue with the next part of the program, which is apply yourself to the field ministry. So we're looking at the first one is starting a conversation. Let's see now Sister Alice Ann and Sister Yosan Takamarian demonstrate that for us now.
Hey, you okay? You look a bit lost.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to the shopping center. Do you know which bus I have to get on?
Yeah, it's the 7:30 bus. It should come in a few minutes. I'm catching the bus after it, so I'll let you know when your one comes.
Thank you for the help. This is my first time trying to catch the bus here.
No worries. It can get pretty confusing. Do you usually just drive around?
We actually moved here a few months ago.
Oh, welcome to the area. How are you finding it?
It is okay. The neighborhood is nice, it's quiet, and there's a lot of green. I think I'm just having a hard time to adjust though.
Sorry to hear that, but I definitely understand. It's been a few years since I moved here, and it was really tough at first. I didn't have any friends or anyone I could rely on.
Yeah, I know. It would take some time, but sometimes I just feel a bit lonely.
Yeah. You know what helped me when I first moved? There's this article that has some great tips on change and how to deal with it. Could I show it to you quickly?
Yeah, sure.
It's on this website, JW.org, and the article is called How to Deal with Change. It goes through what you should know about change and what you can do to help yourself through that process.
That looks interesting.
Yeah, it really helped me a lot, especially this one point about how focusing on the past is like driving on a highway with your eyes focused on the rearview mirror. An occasional look is okay, but you really have to focus on the road ahead.
That's good advice. I would definitely have to look on it.
That's good. Can I have your number so I can send you the article?
Yeah, sure. It is 04.
Okay, here you go. Just send it through. Oh, I see your bus coming over there. I'll let you go, but I'd love to speak to you again, see how you found the article. Maybe we could talk about it over lunch, and I'll show you the best places to eat in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I would like that.
That's good. Send me a text when you get to the shopping center safely, and we'll arrange a time to meet up. Maybe this day next week?
Yeah, it sounds good.
That was very nicely done, Sister Ann. You did a very nice job of that. I really liked how you're working on kindness to helping people, and you looked at an appropriate opportunity to be able to help her. She was new, she didn't know which bus to take, and you sort of guided her. You showed interest in her, and that was excellent. That's what you got to do. It says here, look for appropriate opportunities to help a person in practical ways. But then you showed her with the Bible as well, how you can help her with the Bible. You did that. And that was excellent. And you're able to, by doing that, you're able to you'll be able to teach you something from the Bible, which is excellent, how to help with changes in life and things like that. So you did a very nice job of that, and that's excellent for us to imitate, because we want to look for opportunities where we can, like in the bus stop, in the train station, or wherever we are, and that's really well done the way you developed that demonstration. Thank you for that. Look forward to the next assignment. Now, next one we have, the next demonstration is another study and conversation. This time we have Sister Sujan Bronkhorst and Sister Tammy McCulloch. Let's see how they demonstrate that for us.
Are you waiting for the bus?
Oh, yeah, it should arrive in a couple of minutes.
Oh, I hope there's no delay.
Oh, yeah, sometimes it can be late. Hey, that's an interesting question. How will war end?
Yeah, it is, right? I can see you're wearing a cross. Are you familiar with Jesus' teachings?
Yeah, I go to church now and then.
Then I'm sure you already know the Lord's Prayer, where Jesus told us to pray for God's kingdom to come.
Yeah, I know it. I pray it all the time.
Oh, that's nice. Then, did you know that God's kingdom will in fact replace human governments?
Oh, really? I always thought it was just a figure of speech.
Yeah, that's a common misconception. But the Bible explains it well in Daniel 2:44. Would you like to read it?
Okay, sure. It says, "In those days the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that will never be destroyed, and this kingdom will not be passed on to any other people. It will crush and put an end to all these kingdoms, and it alone will stand forever."
Thank you. So this tells us that God's kingdom isn't just a metaphor, but rather is the answer to the question, how will war end?
I never thought of it like that. Oh, I think my bus is coming.
Oh yeah, then. You can take this magazine to read on the bus if you like.
Okay, thank you. Are you sure?
Yeah, go for it. It goes into more details about what human governments have tried and failed to do and what God's government will accomplish.
Okay, I'll have a read.
Yeah, and then if you have any questions, I wrote my contact details on this card.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Thank you very much, Sister Susan. That was very nicely done too. Another bus stop scene. It's excellent, nice, very popular tonight. That's very nicely done. You're working on naturalness. That's something important because we want to be observant. Be natural means to be observant, and you were very observant. You noticed what was happening, and then you were able to talk about the kingdom, what it will accomplish. You were able to bring that into that conversation, and you were able to leave the magazine with her, and she seemed very interested too. And you looked after her because you said, "Oh, your bus is coming." So you were very observant in that aspect as well. So you showed a lot of kindness in that aspect too. So I commend you for the fine way you did that. Look forward to the next assignment. Now we come up to the following up. So let's invite now Brother Eliasaph Teklamariam and Brother Denzel Papa to demonstrate that.
Hey Denzel, how was class?
It was good. I was just working on my assignments because I didn't have time to finish them at home. During my break, I ended up playing video games, and the time went by too quickly.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It must be hard, especially this time of the year. We have so many assignments due.
I know, right? It just feels like one thing after another.
Yeah, I know that feeling way too well.
Yeah, yeah, true. It's just too stressful. I don't know what to do.
You know, you mentioned that yesterday during our break, but the bell rang. I'd love to share something with you that I think you would appreciate.
Aw, really? What is it? Are you gonna do my work for me?
No, it's not that. It's actually from the Bible.
Oh, okay. Go on.
Well, can you read Philippians 1:10 for us, Denzel?
Sure. It says that you may make sure of the more important things.
Thanks. So this scripture is encouraging us to focus on what's really important. So when you do your assignments on time, it helps us to avoid the stress when we leave it to the last minute.
Wow. I thought the Bible was just an old book. I didn't know it could give advice that actually fits modern life.
Well, many people feel the same way, but the Bible really does give practical advice for living a happier and also a balanced life. If you would like, I can share more with you.
Sure, that sounds great.
Great. Maybe after school sometime we could look at a little more together. I got a book on my phone that's called Enjoy Life Forever, and it helps us to learn directly from the Bible.
Okay then, I'll see you after school.
Okay, bye.
Thank you very much, Brother Elia. That was very nicely done as well. You're working on the empathy, and that was very well done, that, because he showed, it says he shared information that addresses his needs, and he was stressed out about assignments and things like that. You're able to share scripture with him and show him how important it is that we prepare things with time, and that was very nicely done. And then you're able to also, by the way you helped him, you were able to encourage him to read the Bible. And that was very nicely done. So I really enjoyed the way you did that, Brother Eli. You helped Denzel with the stress he had, and that was very nicely done. So that's a good way of showing empathy for other people. So I commend you for that. I look forward to your next assignment. Thank you. Now we come to the last part of our living as Christians, and that's making disciples, public witnessing. So let's see that demonstrated now by Sister Vanessa Simone and Sister Marilyn Doden.
Good evening, my name is Vanessa. How are you?
Hi, I'm Marilyn. I'm okay, but not doing too well. How about you?
Yeah, I'm okay, but I'm sorry to hear. Is everything okay?
Well, this disc in my back are all out of whack. I'm always in pain. Standing or moving around is so difficult. But anyway, how can I help you?
Oh, well, look, firstly, I'm really sorry to hear that. That must be really painful. And today, look, I was just hoping to briefly share a positive verse from the Bible with you and your neighbours. But considering you're in pain, and definitely won't take up too much of your time, would it be okay to show you something that God promises in relation to your health, Marilyn?
Right now, anything can help.
Yeah, of course. Well, look, it's a promise from God about our future mentioned in Revelation 21, verse 4. And it says, "And he, being God, will wipe out every tear from their eyes, and death will be no more. Neither will mourning, nor outcry, nor pain be any more. The former things have passed away." So, Marilyn, could you imagine a time where there wouldn't be any pain anymore?
Wow, that sounds amazing, but seems so impossible. I don't know if I can trust that.
You're not alone in feeling that way. And many have actually found the answer to that quite comforting. There's a brochure I'm thinking of called Enjoy Life Forever. And in lesson 3, it actually talks about how you can come to trust what the Bible says, which would make a scripture like that much more impactful.
Well, I can only, I would like that. I do believe in God. I grew up as a Catholic, but never got to learn how to properly read the Bible. And eventually, once the pain started, I didn't want to believe that this was some kind of test from God. And sometimes it feels like, why is he doing this to me?
Yeah, I can only imagine the physical and mental toll that would put on you, Marilyn. And thankfully, God does give us hope. In this brochure, it uses the Bible to help answer your questions, like why does God allow suffering and if he's actually the cause of it. And they're really important to find the answer to, just to have comfort and peace right now.
I agree. I would like to learn more. It sounds interesting. So how does it work? How do you find out more about all of this?
Well, yeah, I'd be more than happy to go through each lesson with you at any time and place you'd prefer. Would you like me to maybe demonstrate how a Bible study works, and then you can see if it's right for you?
Yes, okay.
Yeah. So if we use lesson 3 as an example, here we've got the topic right at the beginning, and then we'd be essentially looking at each paragraph, as you can see, and then answering those questions associated. And then it encourages us to dig deeper. So that means reading more scriptures and watching some videos that help us understand those Bible truths. And then it naturally becomes an open conversation. So you get to ask any questions you would like, and then we can set realistic goals that would help you feel and draw closer to God too.
I would really like that, Vanessa. I have a lot of questions that I have just kept to myself over all these years, but I am excited to finally find answers to these questions.
Oh, I'm really excited too. And as promised earlier, I didn't want to keep you too long because I know you're in pain today, Marilyn. So when would be the best time for me to come back?
I do have more energy in the morning. I can make a bit of time then. So if you can come to my place in the morning, perhaps, say about 8:30 a.m.
Yeah, absolutely. I can make that work. And maybe what day during the week works best?
Well, Sunday, so I can rest after. I even will give you my number just in case anything changes.
Yeah, that sounds like a great plan. I'm really looking forward to seeing you again on Sunday at 8:30, and I'll bring everything we need for the study.
Thank you, Sister Vanessa. That was very nicely done. I liked how you were able to help her. She was in a lot of pain, she said, but you were able to help her because you read Revelation 21:4, God's promise for the future, and that gave her a bit of comfort, although she said, I don't know if I can truly trust that, but you were able to, the conversation continued after that. You were able to start a Bible study with her, and that's excellent. And then you were able to make arrangements to commit yourself, which you're working on, commitment. It says, she may prefer a specific day of the week or a time of the day, and that's what you arrange with her. And it says at the end of that passage, it says, adjust your schedule to accommodate her needs. And you did that. So you did it in a fine way. I commend you, Sister Vanessa. I look forward to your next assignment. Well done. So that concludes our Living as Christians section for tonight. So I'd like to thank all our students because they did an excellent job once again. It's something we can really perhaps apply in the ministry on the weekend. So let's now introduce our meeting by singing song number 84, and it's Reaching Out. If you're able to stand, we'll sing it together. Song 84, Reaching Out.
In there, what 3 lessons can we learn about Jehovah as a trainer? So we'll take John chapter 5, verse 20. We'll break it down into the 3 areas, as Brother Sanderson did. So that first one we could ask, in the scripture says, "For the Father has affection for the Son." So what didn't we take away from that? Sister Kreider?
As mentioned in the video, Jehovah sets the perfect example in being a trainer. Jehovah trains others because he loves them, just as he did with his son, as mentioned in John chapter 5, verse 20. So training allows individuals to gain the experience that they need in order to be effective in their work, to be productive, and to find joy in what they do.
Thank you, Sister Kreider. And Sister Lim?
Second part of John 5:20 shows him all the things he himself does. So second lesson is that Jehovah takes the time to show everything he does to Jesus. In Exodus 35, 30 and 34, Bezalel and Oholiab were given not only the skill of craftsmanship, but also the ability to teach others. So by teaching and training others to do what we can do, we can bring glory to God. And we hope that the brothers in the congregation will feel that they have a role and are being trained.
Okay, thank you. Brother Nicholson.
And just on the first one again, I thought it was a nice point. It's also showing love for ourselves. So, and that happens in a couple of ways. Brother Sanderson mentioned that, of course, we're sharing the load. And that can be a really good thing. A young man can take on some of the responsibilities where he's learning teaching roles, and that frees up a man with experience maybe to do more shepherding and other things. So it really benefits the congregation. And then it shows love for ourselves because we'll have more joy in seeing others succeed.
Thank you, Brother Nicholson. That's a nice cycle, isn't it, when that happens? Anybody else want to comment on that? Sister Abelera? Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Jehovah also trained Jesus with the future progress in mind. It is said that the Father would show the Son works greater than these. So the experience that Jesus gained while on earth enabled him to develop qualities that he would use in his future assignments. And although it seems that, say for instance, there's enough elders and ministerials that care for the present needs, there will be case of new congregation that's going to be formed in the future. So it is very important for the elders to also train future ministerial servants.
Thank you, Sister Moritz. Sister Rowena?
Go back to the first one, that Father has affection for the Son. So if we receive or we've been trained to the things that has been given, new assignment, new task, we don't like that to become a terrible trial, as it's been mentioned by Brother Sanderson, because of no adequate training. And so to accomplish this, the task that has been given, set before them, we have to train them properly and show love to the one with training and help them to become very effective in their work.
Very nice, thank you. And what about the reference to Proverbs chapter 8, verse 30? How did Jesus feel? Anybody like to comment on that? Thanks, Brother Hobb.
Well, know that he was joyful, and as the Bible mentioned, that Jesus was delighted to do God's will. So that's reflected because of the training he received and the love from his Father.
Yes, thank you, Brother Hobb. So this focuses a lot primarily on brothers, doesn't it? And training the younger brothers in the congregation. But sisters, don't forget that you play a vital role in all this too. You know, you have such a powerful impact on training other sisters in the ministry and meeting parts. So your input as a trainer is also very valuable. So there's many lessons that you can take away from this as well. Well, thank you, brothers and sisters, for your comments. We'll hand it back to our chairman.
Thank you very much, Brother Crider, for taking us through that beautiful material. And thank you for fine comments as well, friends. Now we come to the last part of the program, which is the Congregational Bible Study. And tonight we're looking at lesson 20 and 21 of the from the book's called Learn from the Bible publication. Let's invite Brother Gary Barnick to take us through that. Thanks, Brother Gary.
Well, we'd like to welcome everyone along to this part of our meeting. And we probably remember last week we looked at the first 3 plagues that were brought upon Egypt. And between 2 lessons this week, tonight, lesson 20 and 21, we'll be looking at the other seven plagues. So lesson 6 will have 6 plagues, and the 10th plague we'll be learning in lesson number, the next lesson, number 21. So not just history, but many good things, many things we can learn that can help us in our day today. And we have Brother Teclamarian reading for us today. So let's have lesson number 20 read. Thank you.
Moses and Aaron went to tell Pharaoh God's message. If you don't let my people go, I will send gadflies to the land. Swarms of gadflies invaded the houses of the Egyptians, both rich and poor. The whole land was full of gadflies, but in the land of Goshen, where the Israelites lived, there were no gadflies. Starting with this fourth plague, the plagues hurt only the Egyptians. Pharaoh pleaded, "Beg Jehovah to take these flies away. Your people can go." But when Jehovah took the gadflies away, Pharaoh changed his mind. Would Pharaoh ever learn his lesson? Jehovah said, "If Pharaoh does not let my people go, the animals of the Egyptians will become sick and die." The next day, the animals began to die. But the animals of the Israelites didn't die. Still, Pharaoh was stubborn, and he wouldn't give in. Then Jehovah told Moses to go back to Pharaoh and throw ashes into the air. The ashes became dust that filled the air and settled on all the Egyptians. The dust caused painful sores to break out on all of the Egyptians and their animals. Even so, Pharaoh refused to let the Israelites go. Jehovah sent Moses back to the Pharaoh with his message. "Are you still refusing to send my people away? Tomorrow hail will rain down on the land." The next day, Jehovah sent hail, thunder, and fire. It was the worst storm Egypt had ever seen. All the trees and crops were ruined, but not those in Goshen. Pharaoh said, "Beg Jehovah to make this stop, then you can go." But as soon as the hail and the rain stopped, Pharaoh changed his mind. Then Moses said, "Now locusts will eat any plants that were left over from the hailstorm." Millions of locusts ate up everything that was left in the fields and on the trees. Pharaoh pleaded, "Beg Jehovah to send these locusts away." But even after Jehovah stopped the locusts, Pharaoh was still stubborn. Jehovah told Moses, "Stretch out your hand toward the sky." Immediately, the sky became completely dark. For 3 days, the Egyptians could not see anything or anybody. Only the Israelites had light in their houses. Pharaoh said to Moses, "You and your people can go, just leave your animals here." Moses said, "We must take our animals so that we can offer them to our God." Pharaoh was very angry. He shouted, "Get away from me. If I see you again, I will kill you." You will again see the distinction between a righteous person and a wicked person, between one serving God and one not serving him.
Thank you. Thank you, Brother Ellie. So the 6 more plagues we're going to look at. Could we just get the first picture up on the screen? Thank you. So our first question is, what plagues did Jehovah next cause? Thank you, Brother Gala.
Well, the next plague, Jehovah sent swarms of gadflies into the land. These gadflies are a specific type of fly that actually bite livestock and humans, and they cause massive irritations to the skin. So the gadflies went into every household but the Egyptians that were in the land of Goshen. So it affected not only the animals and the food, but also the Egyptians as well.
Thank you. And thank you for leaving some for others to answer. So as we see on the pictures there, we've had the first one on the left mentioned. The other 2 that are there. So we've had the sickness of the animals and also the sores that humans got. I don't know about you, but that back, he looks like he's in an awful lot of pain. And so what other plagues were there then that we're looking at in this lesson then? And could we swap the picture over to the next one? Thank you. So what's happening now in these pictures with these plagues? Thank you, Sister McCulloch.
The 7th plague was the worst storm Egypt had ever seen. It was raining down hail, thunder and fire.
Thank you, yes. And what about the cute little creatures in the middle picture? Why were they going there? They look... So Egypt probably didn't have many crops left. So what was going to happen next? Thank you, Sister Gallo.
So after the hailstorm, the locusts came and they ate what was left of the hail. That didn't destroy the crops. The locusts did eat everything.
That's right. So imagine a whole nation with their food sources deprived. And the next, which is at number 9, isn't it? So which was plague number 9? At least life, they probably thought just when life couldn't get worse. Thanks, Sister America.
So the 9th plague was darkness covered Egypt for 3 days.
Thank you. Yes, unfortunately we have to lighten the picture a bit. Thank you, Brother Nicholson.
Yeah, it's quite impressive, this plague. All of them, of these plagues now that we're looking at, didn't occur with the Israelites. But you think, well, how did that work? That the Egyptians were in darkness, and yet the Israelites had light in their homes. So that's what an amazing miracle Jehovah performed there, where the Israelites still enjoyed light, and there's a chubby Egyptian in the dark.
Thank you. And that leads us to our next question. Talking about these 6 plagues in this lesson, how were they different from the first 3 plagues? Thank you, Sister McLean.
With the first 3 plagues, the Israelites were affected too, but now only the Egyptians suffered from the plagues, so that, as Jehovah said at Exodus 8:22, his people will know that he was with them here in the land of Goshen.
Thank you, yeah. And Brother Aris?
So now we appreciate the resounding words at Malachi chapter 3 and verse 18, where there would be a distinction between those who were righteous and wicked.
Thank you, yes. So, moving along from that, we see this situation and we see this distinction, and now people would need to make a decision, wouldn't they? Mainly, particularly Egyptians. So, when we think about this account, what do we learn about Jehovah from these accounts? Thank you, Sister Cox.
During each of the plagues, it reminded me of how faithful Jehovah is to his word and how strongly he feels about his people. God gave very specific details about what would happen as a consequence of withholding the Israelites from leaving. And in each case, all of the things that Jehovah said would happen occurred exactly as mentioned. And Jehovah hasn't changed, which gives us the confidence that whatever he says he will do in the future, even down to the smallest detail, will be exactly as described, and because he has the desire and the power to act in behalf of his people.
Thank you. It's a fine comment. And thank you, Brother Kreider.
One thing's for certain about Jehovah, he doesn't do things halfway. As his name says, he causes to become. So whatever he causes to become, it's going to be done at 100%. Just like these plagues were very thorough, without a doubt. So we can see how Jehovah does things, and it will fulfill his purpose.
Thank you. And Brother Arias?
We also get to see that Jehovah is a God that can't be mocked. Every time Pharaoh asked Moses to relieve them of that plague, and then he would say, "You can go now. You can, if you do this," and yet he would change his mind time after time. So Jehovah showed him as well, even though he was patient, he could not be mocked.
Thank you. And thank you, Sister, the back row.
Jehovah also shows that he is powerful over animals' health, weather, food supplies, and even light. He warns his people over and over again in advance, and he also shows mercy over and over again and shows his power and superiority of all.
Thank you. And thank you, Brother Hard.
And Jehovah today is making a distinction between his people and the world, the training we are receiving and the qualities that Jehovah helping us to have, like displaying Christian qualities, honesty, kindness, and peacefulness, rejecting violence, that all help us to be different than the world.
Thank you. And thank you, Brother Nicholson.
I mean, when we think of man's wars, and they think they might have a just war, but whoever they attack, there'll be indiscriminate killing, there'll be innocent bystanders. But when we see this, Jehovah can make a distinction between who he wants to punish and who he wants to save. And that can give us, does give us confidence today that we're spread throughout the earth, but Jehovah will protect his people, and only those that he doesn't want to protect will suffer the consequences of not obeying him.
Thank you. Well, let's leave lesson 20 there. We'd like to thank everyone for their comments. And let's now have lesson number 21 read, which is entitled The Next 10th Plague.
Moses promised Pharaoh that he would not try to see him again. But before he left, he told Pharaoh, "At midnight, every firstborn child in Egypt, from the son of Pharaoh to the sons of the slaves, would die." Jehovah told the Israelites to have a special meal. He said, "Kill a 1-year-old male sheep or goat, and pour some of its blood on your doorway. Roast the meat and eat it along with unleavened bread. Be dressed with your sandals on, ready to go. This night I will set you free." Can you imagine how excited the Israelites must have been? At midnight, Jehovah's angel went to every house in Egypt. In the houses that were not marked with blood on the doorway, the firstborn died. But the angel passed over the houses marked with blood. Every Egyptian family, rich and poor, lost a child. But not one of the Israelite children died. Even Pharaoh's own son was dead. Pharaoh could not take it anymore. He immediately told Moses and Aaron, "Get up, get out of here, go and worship your God. Take your animals and go." Under a full moon, the Israelites marched out of Egypt, organized by family and tribe. There were 600,000 Israelite men and many women and children. Also, a lot of other people went with them so that they could worship Jehovah too. The Israelites were free at last. To remember how Jehovah had saved them, they would have the same special meal each year. It was called the Passover. For this very reason I have let you remain, to show my power in connection with you, and to have my name declared in all the earth.
Thank you. Thanks very much for your fine reading, Brother Teclamarian. So, the 10th plague. Our first two questions. First of all, what was the 10th plague? Thank you, Sister Lem.
The 10th plague was the death of all the firstborn in Egypt.
Thank you. Sounds very, very serious, doesn't it? If we thought the other plagues were bad, imagine this one. But the next question, what did the Israelites have to do to protect themselves from that plague? And if we can just get the picture up on the screen for that. Thank you. So what the Israelites have to do? Thank you, Sister Rena.
That the Israelites have to have a special meal. They have to kill a 1-year-old male sheep or goat and put the blood onto their doorway. And so they have to have the roast meat and eat it along with the unleavened bread and dress with their sandals and ready to go.
Thank you. And so when we think of what happened there, what the Israelites had to do, and we see the picture, what would happen if the Israelites didn't do it? Like, could they use any sheep, for example? Once they had the blood on the doorpost, could they just walk outside in the middle of the night? What do we, when we think about the account, and we don't have time to read all the verses from Exodus, but were there other things they had to do as well? Were there other direction that Jehovah gave them that we may think about? Thanks, Brother Harb.
Well, they had to stay inside homes and be dressed and their sandals on, ready to go. Because Jehovah told them, this night you will be free.
Thank you, yes. So even with the sheep, they had to organise the sheep about 4 days before when we read through the account. And we have that verse there that's already been read, Romans 9 verse 17, which says again, for this very reason I've let you remain, to show you my power and connection with you and to have my name declared in all the earth. Who's that talking about and why, those words? We know it's quoting from Exodus chapter 9. Thank you, Brother Katrupi.
Well, this was specifically Pharaoh, and we might just reflect on this account. Why 10 plagues? Why not just use that one plague and be done with it? But we see there was much more involved. Jehovah was wanting to set a precedent to demonstrate clearly and unequivocally who he was and how insignificant rulers of this world are. So the nation of Egypt, as well as the Israelites, became eyewitnesses to all of this transpiring, and it would build faith in them, because what lay ahead was not insignificant, and they needed to see that Jehovah was true to his word and could be relied on, and that the rulership of man, in the case of Pharaoh, was really insignificant. And you can imagine this happening to Egypt, which was a mighty power, would get out. Nations around would hear of this, of what occurred here, and Jehovah's name would be spread even further.
Thank you. And when we think of what happened there too, how did the Israelites come to? When we think of what happened, we think of the way that Jehovah had everything in command, didn't he? And what does that tell us about Jehovah, or what do we see as how Jehovah did everything here? Or maybe I'm not asking the right sort of question, am I? Yeah. So what does this teach us about Jehovah then, when we see the things that happen? Thank you, Sister Lynn.
Just with the Passover meal, I learned that Jesus died on the same day as the Passover lambs were being sacrificed in Egypt, but the two events were approximately 1,446 years apart. And just as the lamb's blood protected the Israelites, Jesus' blood protects us spiritually, which proves that Jesus is the true Lamb of God. So this showed me how Jehovah can carefully arrange events to fulfill prophecy as our great timekeeper, and we see the clear connection of Israel's physical salvation to our spiritual salvation.
Thank you. And thank you, Brother Nicholson.
And we learn too in the account, when we read the account, Jehovah is truly a God of justice. Even in seemingly little details, the Israelites were never paid for making all the bricks for the Egyptians. So that compensation came in the form of going and asking the Egyptians to give them jewels and riches and garments, and that's what they got. But the brothers bring out that was payment for their hard work.
Thank you. And Brother Crider?
Yeah, Jehovah showed a tremendous amount of patience before, and he magnified himself in front of Pharaoh and all the Egyptian gods. And it just reminds me of one of my personal favorite scriptures in Ezekiel 38:23, which will happen in the future, where he says, "And I will certainly magnify myself and sanctify myself and make myself known before the eyes of many nations, and they will have to know that I am Jehovah."
Thank you. And could we have the last picture up as well? So what's happening here then? And do you think if we were an Israelite and we just lived through the first plague, did we fully put faith that this was going to happen? So what's happening now? So they've had the Passover lamb, haven't they? So what's this illustration telling us? Thank you, Brother Katrupi.
Well, again, Jehovah, true to his stated will, has freed the nation of Israel. And when you look at that, you get a sense of just the enormity. The scriptures speak about 600 men, let alone the women and children. So probably in excess of over 1 million people are now mobilised and moving out of Egypt, and it gives you a sense of why Pharaoh was reluctant to let them go at any cost, but finally he succumbed to Jehovah, and the result was the people obediently, and then also a vast mixed company who were eyewitnesses to all that went with them, so they all saw the salvation of Jehovah.
Thank you. And thank you, Sister Kim.
And we can see the plagues also do softening work on the men of Israel, because they once complained against Moses, but now after the 10th one, now they just follow Moses' lead and get organized and just follow him out in an orderly way out of Egypt.
Thank you. Thank you for your comment. So, 10 plagues, and would have been very difficult to live through them, but eventually they got their freedom because of what? Because of Jehovah God organising all this and doing these things. So are there any practical lessons we can think about for us today? See, we're living in the time of the end, so what can we think about for us. Thank you, Sister Cox.
Yeah, with the Israelites, they were asked to literally mark their houses as a display of taking sides with Jehovah. And there was a clear distinction between those who obeyed God and those who didn't. And so for us, we also understand the need to take sides with God, which requires openly identifying ourselves as his people. And this can be hard at times, but we know that Jehovah gives us the courage we need, and he rewards any sacrifices we make.
Thank you. And thank you, Brother Crider.
Yeah, it's very clear Jehovah has always used the channel for instructions. He used it back then through Moses and Aaron to give his instructions and his warnings to the people, and he's using his channel today through the faithful and discreet slave. Comes down through branches to the congregations to us.
Thank you. And our sister in the back row.
Avoid the trap of stubbornness, rather be obedient, which then bring joy, life, and blessing.
Thank you. And thank you, Brother Hart.
And the main issue, or the main point, liberation of the Jews was important, but the most important thing was Jehovah's name to be vindicated and to be declared all around the world, his personality, his qualities. And the same today, Jehovah is empowering us to make his name known.
Thank you. Well, let's conclude there. We'd like to thank everyone for their comments, and we'll hand back to our chairman.
Thank you very much, Brother Gary, for taking us through the Congregational Bible Study tonight, and thank you, Brother and Sister, for your fine comments as well. Very encouraging. So now to conclude our meeting, we can, if you can all stand and sing song number